Alright, I rather had to burn the midnight oil for this one, but I've got most of the features implemented. As you can see up here, we've got ourselves a heads-up display that will update automatically with the points that are scored. We've got critters spawning based on the Game Manager superclass. We've got explosions for the spider and how many points you've got on there. We've got a player death animation that goes through there. We've got explosions for player death and the tile field regenerating. And we've got the player respawning. So in the code, I first want to go over how the score manager and HUD work. The score manager is a singleton that contains as a member variable, private member variable, a heads-up display. And then every time someone wants to add a score to the score manager, then they will automatically update the HUD there. The HUD update is based on the flyweight system that you put up in the temporary or the test folders. So it's based on the glyph, etc. But the HUD update score method does all the work, and using mod and division of the score value, the total score value, we'll chop it up into the individual characters, put those characters into glyphs, and display those glyphs to the screen at gradually leftward moving positions. The next thing I want to look at is the explosions. Here's the explosion factory right here. The explosion factory sets up its own animated sprites here in the constructor, and then uses them to create the different explosions. I have two different types: a cycle explosion, which is one that cycles through once and then is destroyed, and a timer explosion that goes to a certain active time and then is destroyed. The cycle explosions would be the mushroom respawning explosion and the player deaths explosion. The timed explosions would be the points values, obviously. And those are created in the singleton explosion factory and managed in here. You'll also note that it's a little bit hacky, but the recycle explosion will start up the the mushroom field regeneration. How that works is when the player's died, so a player death explosion has been created. Once the player death explosion has been created and then finishes its move, the game manager is called to regen the next mushroom. When the game manager is told to regen the next mushroom, it takes the currently active grid, tells the grid to regen the next mushroom. The grid does that by calling the mushroom's regenerate field and increasing the value of its own in-class iterator. It has a list of all mushrooms that have been damaged. Those are added as soon as they're hit for the first time and removed when they are destroyed, either by the player shooting them or by the spider running over them. The mushrooms regenerate method is, this is the superclass method, so the mushroom tile itself will regenerate by setting its damage level to 0, resetting the sprite frame, and creating the explosion. That explosion then will feed back into the factory. When it's finished, it will hit this part of the if statement, telling the game manager again to regen the next mushroom. That cycle goes through until the tile field realizes that there are no more mushrooms. The iterators reach the end of the list. It will then clear out the list, deleting all, or technically erasing, I suppose, all the values that are in that list, and then tells the game manager to respawn the player. The game manager in respawn player will, if I can find it real quick here, the respawn player will eventually decrement lives. Once I get that sorted out, creates a new player to replace the one that's been destroyed, and sets the chain in motion for restarting the wave all over again.